My name is Jim Hawkinson with Big House Fish Farms in Southern Illinois, for those of you who are out there. We've been doing this, will be our fourth or our fifth year now that we're doing fish farming. We specialize in largemouth bass, raising them from 3 to 4 inches all the way up to about 1.5 pounds. And it is for the food fish market where we sell it off at that point. The title, I guess, of this that Amy asked me to present on was working with partners to gain hands-on experience. And I think that's basically because Amy knows that I will ask anybody any question. I'll travel, I'll search out people. I've been to the Purdue, I've been to every fish hatchery in Illinois. I think we're constantly looking to gain some more knowledge on what we're doing and be able to improve our business aspect. So one of the first things I say for those that are farmers out there, the number one thing that we found is that you have to have a large list of resources. You have to have a lot of contacts. You have to know who you're looking for the different answers. And like I said, we reach out to just about everybody, trying to gain that list. And so that when all those issues and those problems come up, we've got someone that we can immediately get on the phone with, make a phone call. And I'm sure everyone who's been in the farming business, you know that happens on a fairly regular basis. So that's the first thing that we always do is we try to create that list. Last year, we kind of came across an issue that we always sit down trying to reevaluate the business, figure out how can we be more productive, how can we cut costs, more efficient in what we're doing. And what we realized was there were 2 main issues we were focusing on last year. And one was being able to accurately forecast sales. Anybody who's been in the fish farm will realize that's probably the magical question. How do you forecast? But when you're sitting there and you think you've got 10,000 pounds out there in the pond and you go and you only have 5,000, it's a game changer. You're trying to figure out how to solve it, how to figure out. We've yet for it to happen where we think we have 5,000 pounds and we get 8,000. We're still waiting for that to happen. But so that was one of our big issues that we were focusing on. And then the other one was our stock. When we get our stock and our 3 to 4 inch coming in, they're always coming out of Arkansas. We're very dependent on Arkansas. All of Southern Illinois is, I think Indiana as well. And so we started to kind of look at that. There was rumor Arkansas had a bad year, and we quickly realized our dependency on them, that if all of a sudden they have a bad year, we don't have fish, we're quickly out of business. And so we started kind of evaluating, all right, what are our options here? Are we going to do some kind of vertical integration where we're going to start going backwards, start looking at 1 to 2 inch fish? Are we going to go all the way back to spawning? How realistic is that for a farm like us? Is we're hearing today, there's a lot to it. And not only is there a lot of wealth and knowledge that we need to know, but there's going to be a fairly significant investment. And so that's kind of why we're here today. But we wanted to address that. And so one of the things we did was we started reaching out to people like we often do. So we started looking at solutions. We kind of came up with our own little game plan. And then we started doing some immediate remedies to that. And one was we immediately reached out and started to find those farms that are actually out there that are taking them from the 1 to 2 inch stage, feed training them, raising them up to the 3 to 4 inch, so that we were going to try and diversify where we were purchasing our stock from. We found Jason Neely, Neely Farms out of Robinson, Illinois, and he was doing that. And we also discovered that he's also looking at going back to the spawning stage and trying to bring from spawning all the way up. So we were kind of trying to start partnering with them. So that's one thing that we have done is we formed here in Southern Illinois, thanks to Amy, the Illinois Indiana Sea Grant. We did form the State of Illinois Aquaculture Association, SIAA. And so that's become a much more collaborative effort with all the different farms throughout Southern Illinois. And together we're trying to kind of solve some of these problems. And so then what we actually did next was we sat down with Dr. Garvey here at Southern Illinois University. And we sat with him and kind of presented the issue that we see happening, not just for us, but for all farms throughout this area, this region, and trying to come up with a solution so that we're not all forced and we're not all sitting there in our businesses and our livelihoods, we're kind of waiting on what happens with weather and what happens with the production south of us. Dr. Garvey had some great ideas, and so we sat down and they were working with NICRAC and I believe it's Ohio State University on a grant to do some different studies. And kind of working along with that, we actually got a chance to go out to their SIU's small breeding ponds and put about 30 to 40 breed fish in, just to kind of see how they would do in the natural. We put some mats in one just to kind of see naturally how they were going to take over, and if we could actually bring them up and then maybe bring them into the wet lab. Unfortunately, like so many things, it wasn't a very positive experience for us. We gave it a shot, we tried, but we also realized that we're not able to track how many were coming in, which is kind of part of the other issue we were having. We didn't know exactly how many we were bringing in. So it was kind of starting to look like it may need to be an indoor system or a flow-through system, a rat system of some sort. And so that's something that we're kind of getting ready to go to the next level to explore a little bit more in depth. The other issue that we were facing was the predation, and so again, working with them on this grant, we're looking at doing we're letting SIU use one of our commercial ponds here. I think it's going to be this spring we'll be looking at setting that up, where we'll actually have a tank on site right next to our commercial pond #1, and then we're going to be using a flow-through system using the big pond as a filtration, biofiltration for, and then we're going to be able to do much more intense stocking in that system. Several advantages that we see to that is one, obviously, if there's any kind of treatment, any kind of breakout, you can actually treat with chemicals, and it's going to be at a much more concentrated level, so you're not having to treat an entire 2-acre pond. You're going to be able to identify it much quicker. We're going to kind of have a better idea of exactly what we've got as far as our stock that's actually in there. Feed conversion ratio should be much better. So those were some of the things that we found that, hey, those are just things we're trying to partner with SIU on to try and be able to explore that for everybody. Now, what we will do is come spring, once everything's set up and running, we'll be hosting open house where we'll bring all the farms from this area in to actually get to see the systems, see how it's working, see how it's running, and we can kind of share that information out. It's definitely a much more of a collaborative effort from all the farms in Southern Illinois. And for new farmers that are out there, I strongly encourage you to kind of make those connections, build those relationships up. As you're seeing here, the wealth of knowledge that is being presented today, you're not going to gain that from any one spot, and especially if you're a farmer like myself, we got to go out there, we got to find it. And so I'm just kind of encouraging everyone, that new farmers, feel free to reach out to us. Let's stay involved with the different organizations. Definitely get a hold of the university settings and try and reach out to them, because they're usually very eager to help you with the information that they've got and help you kind of take it to the next level. So.